Hey, everyone, welcome back to the second masterclass of game development. All right, so we are going to be creating a landscape today. We are going to be creating our sort of level. For that, we are going to use the Megascan library that you can see it on the background. So it's going to be really, really amazing. Um, I'd like to point out that I hope my voice is audible. All right. Um, I want to point out one thing that all your questions about the certificates, also the tasks and assignments, those will be cleared by the DevScript team at the end of this video. So please don't spam in the certificate questions throughout the webinar. So that would be really amazing if you guys followed that, just that one protocol. That would be really amazing. Okay, so we have over 100 people watching, and I guess we can begin. So to recap, what we did in the last seminar. All right. So to recap, what we did in the last seminar was learn about Unreal Engine basics, what sort of tools that it packs. Let me just share my screen with you. So okay, here goes. All right, so this is Unreal Engine. We talked about it. On the right side, we have our world outliner where I can see what assets have been dropped. I'm trying to go slow this time, so I hope this is not, just let me know when I'm going too fast. Here we have the details panel. So whenever I select an object, I can modify its location, the orientation or the rotation, scale, or I can even mention if it is a stationary object, if it is static. So static objects won't move. Movable objects will move and are interactable. So we can do that. Also, we have various physics and collision settings. We are going to deal with these later. Currently, the goal of this this day or this webinar is to create a really good environment for our game, because mostly game development processes, the idea usually begins with what environment I want my player to be in, sort of like imagining the place. All right, let's go to the Megascan website. So this is the URL for it. Just go to quixel.com and select in products, or and select Megascan library. Awesome. So this is the web page that you will view. The second thing I want you to do is go here and sign in using your Epic Games website, Epic Games ID. Now, Unreal Engine users have unlimited access to the Megascan library assets. Otherwise, it is paid for other users. So that's a really good point, like in favor of Unreal Engine. Everything that Megascan has to offer, or the Quixel in particular has to offer, is free for Unreal Engine users. So, all right, so we can select from various types of assets to 3D assets, 3D plants, surfaces, decals. So decals are like your effects where sort of like a blood splatter or a puddle that you want to show. So that is what decal is. Atlases, imperfections, displacements, brushes, etc. So let's just go to environment and select um, sort of like forest. Okay, because in the chat I mentioned that we can create a sort of like Ghost of Tsushima type of background, sort of like environment for us, and we are going to do just that. So we have various grass clumps, we have various materials that we can incorporate in our landscape. But before putting in all the assets, so I'm just giving you a go through of how Megascan actually works. So you can just select an asset. So for example, I want to use this. I can click download settings and I can select my resolution. So I'm just going for 2K because 8K is really heavy even for my machine. Awesome. Okay, so let me just, now the website should be visible. This is what the website looks like. Just go here, sign in with the Unreal Engine ID. You get free access to whatever asset they have to offer. Drop down, there's a drop down where you can select a specific environment that you're designing. And for example, you want to create a rainforest. So you select rainforest, and we can see a lot of assets that we can use uh, to create that environment. So we even have small mushrooms to spread all over. Awesome, right? So for this, let's just keep it to forest because that's really generic and easy to create. Okay, let's come back to our Unreal Engine. Awesome. What is the website's name? The website's name is Mega Scan Library, or it's quixel.com. So just go to quixel.com and type and go to Mega Scan Library. You'll find an option there. So it's not really that difficult to find. Just Google Megascan Library and this will be the first option. This will be the first option. Okay. So last time we were creating a level and we were messing around with various stuff. So we created a little room. But since we aren't creating a very small game, and this is a really small environment to interact with things and create a whole game in, I am just going to delete everything that it has. So I'm going to delete the floor, the chairs, the light. Um, so just select anything and press delete and it will go away. All right, so all that I am left with is my player start component, the sky sphere, because I cannot get rid of the sky. I don't want to get rid of the sky. Skylight is by default here. Sphere reflection capture, that is also by default here. atmospheric fog is also by default, and light source. Okay, so that's our sun. Let's just save it. Okay, which engine is being used? This is Unreal Engine 4. Okay, and this is a really good, powerful game development software. All right, let's create landscape. So go to modes here and select landscape. Awesome. So this sort of like mountain option will, when you click on it, you'll see a big mesh around um, all over the viewport. Now, this is sort of showing the area of about how much our terrain or landscape that we are going to create right now would cover. Okay, so let's just drag it down a bit. Okay, and let's just decrease its size because it's I don't want it to be that big. So let's just keep it by to 15 by 15 quads. Okay, so you can edit that here, and let's select our material to be, just type in grass, and there is a material called m underscore ground underscore grass. Okay, so what I did was simply select this landscape, and I got a huge green mesh like thing in my viewport. I configured whatever size that I want. If you're going for an open world, maybe consider creating the biggest possible. I am just going to create 15 by 15. So, okay. So this is pretty much it. You select your material, what you want it to be made of. I want it to be grass. So I just select it, and then I press create. Just wait for a few seconds. It has to do a lot of compiling of the textures and where the light is falling, and there we have it. You can press play and move around and see how our landscape looks like. So it's very basic. Um, we can see a little bit of grass, and there are patches of where the grass is not there. So it looks good. It looks good. But what if I want more elements in my landscape? So how do I do that? All right. So for that case, I would need to create my own landscape material. So Abhi, what we did was I selected grass material, right? But what if I want not just grass, I want rock elements to my landscape, I want mud elements to my landscape, and then I want my grass elements. So I want like a triple textured material. So how do I do that? It's super easy to do, and you can just follow my lead. All right. So let's just press right click, select material because we are creating a material, and type in level um, map or whatever you want to name it. You can just name it. Usually, the material files, the convention is to store them by underscore mat at the end or underscore m, capital M. That's the convention. But it's okay if you want to create your own naming scheme. Just make sure that you, when you come back to the project, you understand that scheme. You remember that well. Okay. Now we just need to add a few nodes in here, and since if you currently view this, it's all black, so we need to provide it some information. How do we do that? It's really easy. Just type in, just right click and type in landscape layer blend. So what it usually does is it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, n number of elements, and it will blend them into one component. Okay, so that is pretty easy. I give it three colors, and it would just give me a palette of three colors, and I can use whichever one of them to sort of paint my terrain. It's really easy. So connect the base color to the landscape blend node. So I connected this with this. So base color is how my material would look like. Normal is also important because normal usually gives the effect of a difference in heights. For example, I'm creating a skeletal mesh, or I am creating a material for sort of like this watch. All right. So this watch has various aspects to it. Now the strap, the second strap is on top of the first strap. How would I tell the game to do this, to have this effect? I would give it a normal map, which would highlight the things that are on the top with blue, and the things that are under it with sort of like sort of like a lighter shade of blue. So what's on the top would be the darkest, and what's on the bottom would be the lightest blue. So that's how the normal map works. Now it's time to add stuff to our layer blend. Here we have layers, and it says zero array elements. Just select it once, twice, and thrice. So we have three elements in our layer now. I am just going to give it the first one name as grass. The second one, or the first sort of index, would be grass. Then it would be mud, and at last it would be rock. Okay, now that I have named them and I know sort of like what naming schemes I am using, let's provide them various properties, and we'll add textures to these file. Okay, so change the layer blend type to hide blend for each one of them. Awesome. So now if you see um, it here, I hope my screen is visible currently. Okay, so now if you see here, I have a layer grass, height grass, layer mud, height mud, layer rock, height rock. Why? Because I selected height blend. If I do weight blend, then the height element would just go away. Again, we don't want that. Okay, so let's go back to our material file. Awesome. Now, all we need to do is connect our textures. That's pretty easy, right? Go to starter content, because that's where our textures are stored currently. We haven't imported our own. And type in rock. Just drag this out. I am going to share my whole screen now so that everything is visible. Okay, I hope it's visible right now. Now, the first one is grass. I am going to search for grass. Here it is, the green one, not the blue one. We don't want the normal one right now. Okay, so just connect the RGB here and the alpha one, so like the A one, to height. Awesome. Now we need mud. So do we have mud? Do we have? Okay, there is gravel. So gravel works as mud. The shade is almost the same, the brownish shade. Select RGB and drag it to layer under layer mud. Now drag the A and select it to hide mud. So I'll just close up for you of how this actually looks like. So we have our text file that we just dragged in from the content browser, and we dragged RGB and selected to the layer mud, and A is the height. Okay, let's do the last one, that is rock. A, just type in rock, and let's do rock underscore base salt. I don't know how to spell it, so okay. RGB to layer rock and A height rock. Now I have three materials, and I am going to save this because I don't want to lose my progress if I have a computer crash or whatever. Okay, so now that we have this here, I am going to right click again, and I'm going to type in landscape. Hold on, coords. So landscape layer coord. What this does is sort of um, gives an initial value to our landscape material. So I want the initial value to be grass. Okay, let's save it. Awesome. Now we have our material for landscape. Our landscape. It's currently black, but it is supposed to show that because we still have some information to enter it to. Okay. Now select this level underscore mat and press this little icon which says use selected asset from content browser in the landscape material option in the details panel. So everything should appear black. Awesome. This is how it should look like. Okay, so don't get confused as like we painted, we wanted our material to be sort of like in the color of grass, rock, or mud, but it's black right now. It's okay. We haven't give it information. So we need to create layer info. It needs to know what layer is there and what color it has, etc., etc. So on the left side, go to the landscape menu again in the modes, and here is this little plus icon on our various layers. So just add a weight blended layer and save it wherever you want it to save. Okay, so the value is saved now, and if you give it a second, now we have grass color. Okay, now I am going to do it same for the rest of the layers. All right, and just press save all to save our progress. Okay, now it's time to paint, or actually try painting. So I'm going to reduce my brush size because that is huge. Select whatever layer that you want to paint. So I want to go to mud, and it takes a while. So it's just, so here you can see I got a little bit of mud here. It's a bit muddy now. I have successfully painted my landscape. So I can just go around here and there, painting around. Awesome, right? Now let's talk about one more thing, that is giving the variation to our landscape. In Ghost of Tsushima, of which we are using the reference, we are going to um, sort of like need a lot of mountains, a lot of grass, etc., and also a lot of variation in the landscape. So there are hills, um, there are various type of cliffs, etc., etc. So how do we do that? Again, go to the landscape, go to this option called sculpt. So sculpt basically means is changing the form of the landscape, like actually sculpting it. So by default, it's the sculpt tool. The brush is of the shape of a circle, and the fall off is smooth. So if you press left click and you keep pressing it and drag it around your viewport, you will get something like this. Let's test play it. Okay, this looks like mountains, but it definitely does not look good. Why? Because it's literally too smooth. Now, I want to create some cliffs. How do I do that? Just go to the landscape, make a big mountain sort of thing with sculpt tool. Cool. Now that we have this weird ass mountain here, just go to flatten and flatten. Cool, right? We have a cliff now. Just keep dragging it, dragging it. So what it is doing is it's flattening to by taking the like sort of like the mountain as a reference. Now the mountain is not all green; it's rocky also from the sides because vegetation sometimes is not able to grow on the sides. So I'm going to paint, I'm going to choose rock, and I'm going to modify this side. So let's wait for it to render. Okay, looks awesome. Right? So when you hit play now, okay, I should enable selected viewport because awesome. This is how our cliff currently looks like. Now that we have our awesome tricks up our sleeve, let's try to create some mountains and like create a whole environment because that's what our aim is, right? Okay, let's first create our environment and then we'll try to also give it a night scene because I said we are going to do it. So we are going to definitely try it. Awesome. So go to sculpt again. Let's change our brush to alpha. This would give a sort of like a random movement. Okay, so just drag it around the landscape. Should look like this. So I'm just not going to recreate a very big environment. I'm just going to edit a part of it. Just sort of like do what ever your imagination says. Like try different tools here. We have erosion, so noise, etc., etc. So literally, the sky is the limit of this. So we have. Let's try to smoothen out various things. So we have smooth, just smooth out various things because in Ghost of Tsushima, many of the mountains are really smooth and are covered with grass, etc. So just smooth it out. Awesome. Now let's give it a bit. Let's paint our sort of way to show that okay, this is the way by using mud as sort of like an indicator. Okay, let's try to sort of increase the size of it also. Sculpt, increase, just increase the size a wee bit. Awesome, right? So again, we'll have to smooth it. So it's mostly trial and error. I'll just not. I'll just try not to bore you with the whole process. Um, it's up to your imagination to what you actually create. So a little bit of painting, a little bit of variation in the field. Okay. Now, what this scene is actually missing is, first of all, let's put our player here. Where is our, just type in the world outliner, player start. So player start is wherever our player default spawn point is. So spawn point is basically the location where our player will begin its journey in our game. So it looks not so bad. The ground is still very shiny. Maybe you can add a metallic component to it when you download a material from the Megascan library. Okay, let's try to add some grass or bushes like component. Now, I'd like to share this little plugin with you. So let me just share my screen again. Okay, so I hope it is visible. Go to Marketplace um, and type in, what's it called? Um, Open World Demo Collection. So just go to Marketplace and type in Open World Demo Collection. Why is it not working? Okay, just type in Open World Demo Collection and it's free. Unreal Engine has open sourced a lot of its tools. And when you download it, this little option will appear. So it says Open World Demo Collection, add to project. Now, select add to project and I want to add it to my dev script. So select add to project. Now, I guess this is a whole 2.5 GB download with all the assets. So if you click downloads, it will you'll see a whole process of downloading and installing. Uh, we are already streaming and taxing our system pretty much. So it's a whole 6.5 GB download. You can do it, and it has really amazing maps, pre-built maps, and various assets where you can get your grass, etc., etc. So currently, I have various assets by myself that I'm going to copy paste. So just give me a second. So I am going to go to, okay, so this is a whole 5 GB sort of like transfer from one file to another. So you can shoot your questions at me and I'll try to answer them. अभी जितना cover हुआ है, you can ask me various questions. Okay, I am not able to see any questions currently. Okay, so now you can. Okay, so maybe Zoom just paused my screen because it wasn't open. Okay, all right. So that is sort of like the only thing left in the game. So I'm currently copying something. We are just going to wait for 1 second. Okay, I hope my screen is still visible. And I have copied the whole demo file that I just told you about. So in this environment and then foliage. So let's talk about foliage for a moment. So foliage is anything that is replicative and can be sort of used as duplicates in our game. So grass, right? So I cannot personally go in and hand animate and model a grass element 1 million times to create a forest. I need a small object and I'll make a like a patch of grass and I'll duplicate it throughout the game. That's how it usually works. Um, So this is sort of the material that we are going to be using is, or this is the sort of asset that is included in the open world demo in marketplace. It's for free. You can download it. So it's called SM underscore field underscore grass. So we are going to select it, go to our modes menu. Now we'll select this plant. So we can either go shift plus 4 or just select it. This is called foliage. So I am going to drop my grass into the scene. And okay, I mistakenly closed my content browser. Just bring it back. Awesome. I have dropped it in the my foliage, and now you'll see a little halo type thing by hovering over your mouse. Now press left click and drag it across the screen. Okay, so just drag it. As you can see, I am recreating and placing the grass element again and again. So this is how it actually looks like. So you can even see it sort of like blowing because of the wind. Okay, I think it's really too small right now. So I am just going to increase the density, or I'll keep the density same. I'll increase the scale. So maximum should be 4, minimum should be 4, maximum should be 5. Now this should look like something straight out of Ghost of Tsushima. So this is how it looks like in the game, right? So we have our grass. It's really detailed. It looks amazing. It doesn't take much CPU or graphics performance because when you're looking at foliage from a distance, it automatically reduces its quality. Now, when you get close to a particular foliage, it will increase its quality. So the sort of like engine is using its magic to optimize our gameplay here. So it looks really cool. Um, okay, so I am just going to back it up a bit and going to remove it again. I am going to decrease the density from 100 to 45, and I'll add the grass on the side hills. So one hill has grass, and the other also has some grass elements. Cool. Now let's add a little bit of different foliage. So go to kite demo again, environments, foliage again. Now there are various flowers. So let's try to use buttercup. Just drag it outside and add in buttercup. Let's add various other so like field scabious. I don't know what that is, but it looks really cool. So I have added these to my foliage. I'll deselect my grass because that's enough for grass part. I am going to increase their density, and you just drag it across um, your scene. It looks really good, and it also shows you the number. So if you can see, it's 1.48 thousand. We have placed the first type of foliage. We have 237 assets of grass, etc., etc. As to what number? Okay. So how is this looking? It looks pretty good as far as the mountain scene is confirmed. sort of like concerned, we can add a bunch of trees here and there, and sort of like we can uh, create an evening environment to give a really good effect to what our gameplay has to offer. So, okay, now that we have our foliage setup, we have our terrain setup, let's include some other elements. Like what? We can add a house, or we can add some trees. So I am gonna go back to my mega scan page. First of all, like closed what other things have been opened. Bye bye Epic Games. Okay, so I'm going to create share again, and awesome. Yes, hello. Okay. Okay, so we have selected forest. What we can add in here, we have various forest assets. We have this Japanese stone lantern. We have various type of rocks. So I am liking this. Let's try to include it. All right. Always check the download settings in Megascan. For some reason, it just assumes everyone is running hi-fi machines. So just drop down the value. Uh, LOD means level of detail. I am going to go for LOD 5. That is the lowest because I don't want my PC to be burned in. I want albedo. Albedo is your base color that we saw in the material file. Every software calls it in a different way. Let's just call it albedo in Megascan and call it base color and when we come to ambulance. So we need specular. We that is pretty much it. So we have albedo, we have normal roughness. So it will tell the material file how much rough our material is. And specular. Specular is specularity is a property where light is falling on an object and it reflects back at a direct angle. For example, like glass. So or stuff made up of polished metal. It's always shiny. So they have good specularity. Now, in case of our Japanese stone lantern, we don't need any shiny parts. The only shiny parts would be sort of like the dew effect that if I want to include in, or sort of like glass if it has, which I don't think it does. So press download, and this will download our asset. Awesome. I am just going to mute. Okay. Now the file has been downloaded. Go to your downloads folder, unzip it. So for some reason, it just gives a really weird name, a really long name. So where is it? Where is it? Okay. I am going to share my screen, like the whole screen now. So when you unzip the file, this is what you'll see. You'll find a JSON file that is not really much of a use. This is a preview image of how it should look like. And this is the textures. So our specular, roughness, normal map. So as I told you about, so normal maps, this is how it looks. So if something is in the front, like it's the topmost element, so it will be blue, and then the shade sort of differs. All right, this is our FBX file, like the 3D model itself. I'm just going to chop it down, so minimize it. I am going to create a new folder called models, open it up, and select all of this, drag it here. Okay. Now, I don't want this to be a skeletal mesh again because skeletal mesh are character models. So this is not a character. This is just going to be an object in my scene, and just select import. Okay. No smoothing group. We do not care about that really. Just close it. Okay, let's save everything. It's important to keep saving your progress. Now press right click, material, type in, I'm just going to say material. So open it up, minimize the minimize the screen and shrink it down a bit. Now drag the albedo or the base color and connect it to base color node here. In the normal, just drag it again here, and the RGB should be connecting to the normal. Now we have roughness. Where is roughness? Roughness is here, so I'm going to drag this down. Okay, so roughness, connect the RGB node to roughness, and at last we have our specular. So drag this and connect it to specular. Okay, so just select save or apply. So save, by clicking save, we just applied also. So this is how it looks. Just drag it around, and this looks really good, right? Now I want to talk about high dynamic range. Behind you, behind the material object, I can see sort of like a scene being created. Now that is a high dynamic range image. High dynamic range image is sort of like a mixture of sort of like photos of a place in low light to the brightest point of light, and it combines them to create one big image, which is called dynamic range. We can see our material in high dynamic range, and it gives us the perspective on how the material will be actually looking like when we place it in the scene. That is the concept of HDRI, and it is used constantly in VFX making, sort of like visual effects, game development, movie editing, etc. Okay, so double click on the model file, and if you'll see, it has a very basic material on. It does not look like the thing that we saw in the mega scan. So how do we make it? In the right side, I have material slots. Just maximize it, right? And it says world grid material. But well, that's not our material. Our material is the file name material. So select it by pressing left click and select this little plus arrow icon which says you selected asset from content browser. Awesome. So we have an image, sort of like a preview of how our asset would look like. Again, you can see the whole high dynamic range image, and you can also turn this off if you can remember correctly. You can even turn this whole thing off. So you can just turn off skylighting, so it just went on. You can turn off the environment. You can even change the cube map. So that's that's our SDRI. Okay, now that we have our asset or all prepped up, all we have to do is drag it into our scene. So let's just drag it here, shrink this down. Okay, and let's just place it here and increase its size a bit. Awesome. Now let's press play and see how this actually looks like. It fits really, really well in our environment. What do you think? It's like I specifically designed this model for this particular environment. So this looks good, and you can do endless amount of things with Quixel. So just go in and go nuts on various materials. You can find, just go to rural, and sort of like you can design a whole village in the forest. You have so many materials like stairs. You have the little sort of like fencing for those stairs, you have windows, etc., etc. So you can build really good stuff um, using Unreal Engine. Now, that is really pretty much it about the sort of like how to create a whole level. Also, I promised you guys that I'll do a night scene. So, okay, here we go. First of all, we need to get rid of the sun, right? So, select the sky. So, just aim your viewport at the sky and select the sky and uncheck this box. It says color determined by sun. No, ma'am, I don't think so. Okay. Now, the color of our sky will not be based on the position of this little thing. So that's sun. So select light source now. So that's our light source. And select this angle to be 0, 90, 0. And its intensity to be 0.00001. That's how it should look. So it's dark now. Now I need to give my sphere some different color, right? Okay, so I'm going to share the screen again. Awesome. So I'm just going to find out what color codes to use for a night scene. I have saved those in a file somewhere. Okay, select this and press refresh material. Okay, so just set color determined by sun and select refresh material. So this should look like a night scene now. If you press play, okay, so we have our night scene. We have our various clouds, we have sky. You can change various properties. So like if you don't want that much cloud, you can just type in 0 in the cloud opacity and it's gone. I like cloud, so I'm just going to add in 0.25 in the opacity or what it was earlier. Okay, awesome. You can increase the star's brightness by changing this value here. So I'm just going to keep it at 0.1. Also, you can add atmospheric fog in your, which is already there, and you can sort of increase the multiplier. Um, so you can see the mist in the boundary, right? So Ghost of Tsushima has actually kind of that misty environment that you cannot see after like 10 meters or something. So you can do that also. You can add a post process volume which is going to do a lot of color correction work. If you're into video editing, you might know that. We are not going to use it. Um, awesome. Now, when you have completely designed your level, you just need to do one thing. You might be seeing this little warning here, which says lighting needs to be rebuilt. 69 objects are unbuilt. Just go to build and select lighting only and just give it a while. This will take some while. So exporting lighting data, it's 33% done. Okay, let's give it a moment. I think this will take me a while because I have added a crap ton of elements and this will take its time to render my whole scene. So optimize your machine accordingly. If you don't think sort of like your PC would be able to handle a very large number of assets at one particular point, which is not optimum for any game. So don't do that. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to go back in, uh, try to reduce the density of the flowers, try to reduce the detail level of flowers, reduce the number of grass, etc., etc. And then I would try again building my sort of like Okay, so I'll again try to build my lighting and we'll see how that goes. So for now, it looks really good. Um, and that is pretty much it about how to create a whole level. Now, I am hoping I haven't missed a topic. I have talked about photorealism. So every asset that we have used here is photorealistic. So when you go to like Megascan website, you see a lot of different assets. Now, how this library has been created? They take an object, click thousands of photos by going from 0 degree to 360 degree, like clicking photos and going down it, and then modeling the whole thing. So that's how we get so realistic assets. And that's what photoreal means. Unreal Engine provides you free photoreal assets so that you can create good gameplay experience for your players and etc. So I guess you can ask your questions now. Um, so you can ask your questions. I guess my screen is paused again. Okay. So I'm just going to open the YouTube and how did the stars come in? Okay, so the remember the when I selected the sky. So when I selected this and I uh, checked color determined by sun again. So what it did was it saw the position of my light source. So my light source is facing upwards, which means it's sort of the night time. So the whole sky sphere blueprint actor is made for this purpose. It takes in consideration of where our light source is, and it will adjust the weather, the whole scenario for us. Okay. Explain the night scene. I don't think we have more time, but okay, I'll try to go over it again really smoothly. So we had a light source. All I did was selected it in the world outliner. So just type in light source. So it's a directional light component, which is like the sun. So selected it. I entered 0 in the x-axis or in the x orientation, 90 in the y orientation, and 0 in the z orientation. Now, this means that this will be aiming upwards. So the white arrow is upwards. Okay. Now, just blindly select the sky. So it has selected my sky sphere, right? So if you double click the sky sphere, it will zoom out and will give you what it actually looks like. Okay, so select the sky sphere and just press in refresh material. What it will do is it will take the light source position into reference and it will adjust the atmosphere accordingly. Again, you can change the sun's brightness to 0 in this scene because at night there is no sun. You can change the speed of the clouds at which they're moving. So currently it's at 2.0. If you want it really fast, just really punch in the numbers. So now clouds will move really fast. Um, Increase the cloud opacity. So you can see the clouds are now getting denser and denser and denser. So I'm just going to give my clouds a little bit of grayish shade. Okay. So that also you can do if you want to give it a custom color. Now press play, and this is how our night scene look like. So it has clouds, it has stars. It's not that difficult to create. Okay. So any more questions? Maybe the sort of like it's maybe it's the bandwidth issues. I'm really sorry. We'll try to fix this issue in the next session. Okay, Sahil. So we'll try to fix the freezing issues. Okay, but मेरे screen पे भी आ रहा है actually. Okay, okay. So we'll try to fix it. How to set FPS? Okay, so if you want to make an FPS game out of a 3D game, so like a third-person game, what you can do is go to the third-person character. All right. So just open the third-person character blueprint, and we have a follow camera element, right? So change like first of all, it has sockets. So like it has connected to its base going, it will move. Select this little cross here. Now reposition it to its head. Right. So right, this is how it should look like. Now again, type in head or like okay. So we have selected this. Press play. Save. Now now you can see I have a first person perspective. Let me just try one thing. So settings, medium. Okay, so I hope you can see that we went from third person to first person using a small trick. Okay, all right. So what is the difference between materials and characters? Okay, so materials are basically 3D information, and textures are um, 2D information. So texture is just sort of like a map of how a thing should look like in 2 dimensions. Material uses that 2D dimension to create real world information for 3D world. That's what it does. This is the difference. Does Unreal have a collab equivalent of Unity? I do not get the question, but Unity does not have any collaborations with anyone because it's a proprietary software. Um, okay, so lakes and living animals, you can add various things. Uh, I could not cover that in this tutorial because it would have really stressed it. I'll try to cover it in the next. So I'll try to cover trying to add lake and other objects in our scene. How to set frame rate? It's by default 30 frames per second in Unreal Engine. You can go to the project settings and tweak things there. Okay, you can browse through YouTube, non-copyright sound effects, or you can view various libraries from various sound effects. If you missed feedback form, yes, on the day one, you can just fill in the feedback form today. It's not an issue, I guess. The team is here to help you. So I hope someone sees your comment. Okay, I guess that is pretty much it for the queries today. And I would like to hand over the stage to Abhishek now, who is here to share some really awesome information. Okay, just give me 1 sec.
कभी मेरे को पुश करेगा तो बताना.
Awesome. So Abhishek is the host now.
Yeah. Okay. Hello everyone. Hope this session was wonderful. Thanks Ishan for giving your time for such a wonderful session. Thank you so much. So there was a lot of doubt about the attendance thing. So we have posted, guys. Wait, yes. We have posted the thing the questions on the LinkedIn itself. I'll give you the link to that post. in the chats. Yes. So what you can do for the attendance part, just go over here. These are the two questions. Answer them. Okay. See, people have already given the answers. So answer them and take a snapshot of these answers and put it in the form. In the form, just a minute. In the form, you have at last thing screenshot of your the comment you did on your LinkedIn post. Just put up the file over here and submit it. We will check your comments as well on the LinkedIn and on the responses also. Based on your comments, like your responses, like have you copied the comments or you have given your own or you have answered your own, like based on that, we will consider your attendance and whoever will do this all the rest days. Rest, I think 3 days are left, so every day you need to do this. Whoever does this for the all the days, he will be getting the certificate of participation, and Ishan will be giving some assignments on the coming days. And those who will complete that, they will also get the certificate of completion as well. With the certificate of participation, you will also get the certificate of completion, right? This is the process of the attendance. So any doubts you can put up in the chat. You are not on LinkedIn, then just please make an account. It's very useful for your career and your professional life. Yes, so this was the thing for the attendance part. And the second thing is what? About the website. So we have made our website and we have planned to make it open source. So our code is available for everyone, and those who want, like those who think like yes, you can improve our website, you can just go over there. I'll put up the link for our GitHub repo. You can go over there, and what you can do is, if you think any component you can improve, suppose we have a component over here, suppose we have a live event, and you think you can make it better and more interactive, more responsive, and you can do it in a creative way. So what you can do is you can just uh, go to our repo and you can create a PR pull request. And after that, we will be verifying that pull request. And if we think that this suits our website and this suits our criteria for the website, we will for sure merge that. And the people whose code will be merged into our website, we will be featuring them on the GitHub itself and in the README file as a contributor. And as well as there will be a section on our website where we will be featuring all our contributors over on the website. And as well as whose code will be merged successfully in our website codes. So he or she will be getting a certificate of contribution from DevScript. So this is the thing for you all. Just we will be glad to have you as a contributor for our website. So these are the things which I wanted to announce. And if any other doubts, you can just put up in the chats. Photo will be uploading. Just try to like upload the JPG or the PNG file. It will upload. LinkedIn stuff, Yashish Shukla, just go over the LinkedIn post. There is some question when you come here. This is the do question. Just go over there and put up in the comments the answer in the comments. Write the answer in the comments. Take a snapshot of that and put up in the form. That's it. This is the thing you need to do. And there is a request from all of you guys, like we are doing this all stuff in free of cost. So what we need from you is a good feedback. And the other thing, just subscribe our channel and share it with your friends in your network or wherever in which group you are. Just share it. This is the only thing we are asking in place of this. And we will be always there for you to help. And we will be conducting such more sessions with many in the every domains, that is maybe on Python, maybe on web development, machine learning, etc., etc. Every domain we will be covering that. So just need support from you all. Share it with the maximum, and that's all. Ishan, you want to say anything?
Um, Thank you for joining, everyone. It was really amazing to see so many students interested in game development. And we still have 3 more episodes, so we are going to create awesome cinematics. We are going to give kick-ass animations to our player, and we are going to create really like a good end project.
Yes.
So it's going to be really amazing.
Yeah. Form will be available up to before the next session. That is on Sunday, I guess. Yes. Huh. Before Sunday, 6 p.m. form will be on. As soon as the next session is live, we will close that form.
Sure. Okay. First of all, I'll have to find it. Um, yeah, so share screen. Just
Okay,
can.
एक मिनट एक दे रहा है. अरे इसमें मल्टीपल शेयर होता है यार.
Okay.
Just बैकग्राउंड में तू कुछ बजा दे, हम लोग निकल रहे हैं. बंद कर.